This is Dale Buchanan, the host of today's podcast. If you've ever wanted to become a full-time professional dog trainer, now's your chance. You need to check out my new book, The Business of Dog Training: How to Make $100,000 a Year as a Mobile Dog Trainer. It's available right now on Kindle ebook, paperback, hardcover, and audiobook. The Business of Dog Training, now available on Amazon. See the link in the show notes. I'm Dale Buchanan, and this is Puppy Talk, the podcast that offers free advice and tips for raising a happy, healthy, and obedient puppy. For more information on this podcast, visit us online at puppytalkpodcast.com. Welcome to Puppy Talk episode number 125. I'm Dale Buchanan, your host, and today I'm going to talk about the responsibility of raising a puppy. The first podcast that I did on Puppy Talk was January 8th, 2021, almost 5 years ago. It's amazing to think that I've been doing this podcast for 5 years, and I really enjoy doing it. Sometimes I take a break and then I get back into it again. So this is episode 125. The first episode I did was entitled, Owning a New Puppy is a Lot of Work. Today I want to expand on that, the responsibility of raising a puppy. Many people underestimate the level of responsibility needed to raise a puppy. So go back and listen to that first episode of what's needed to own a new puppy. And today we're going to talk about the truths and the myths of raising a puppy. Number one truth: raising a young puppy starting at 8 weeks old is a part-time job. For some people, it's a full-time job. You have to be on top of that puppy all the time. They're going to go potty 10, 12 times a day. They need a tremendous amount of sleep. They need water, food, and a lot of other things that we're going to get into in this episode. But you have to dedicate a lot of time to raising this puppy right from the get-go. If not, you're going to have a lot of problems. These problems include not being able to potty train them effectively, the puppy chewing everything up, the puppy play biting too much, barking too much, and basically being rambunctious and being annoying. So you don't want that to happen. So you have to make sure you look at it as a part-time job. Truth number 2, hiring a dog trainer may not help. It is not the solution. Being a dog trainer, I can tell you that a lot of people hire me and other dog trainers when they're overwhelmed within the first week of having their puppy, and they think that's the magic bullet. The dog trainer is going to take care of everything. And that's absolutely false. The dog trainer's job is not to take care of raising your puppy. That would mean that you have a child and the teachers at daycare and at school are going to raise your child for you. No, they're not. You're going to raise your child. They're going to the daycare and to elementary school and so forth as a supplement to what you're doing to raise the child. A dog trainer can give you tips, pointers, suggestions, ideas, and everything else to help you raise that puppy more effectively. But we don't live with you. We're not there all the time. I can't stop every time you're overstimulating your puppy and your puppy is play biting too hard. Or I can't control that your puppy had an accident on the dining room rug when you were cooking dinner and the puppy was off leash or not in a crate and you weren't following the rules that I gave you that said, if you can't watch your puppy and they're 10 weeks old, keep them in a crate or on a leash next to you. These are things that I can't control. There are too many variables that dog trainers can't control. The only thing a dog trainer can do is give you suggestions and tips on how to raise the puppy. The work has to be done by you, which is truth number 3. You have to do the work yourself with the help of a coach. I consider myself a new puppy owner coach, in addition to being a dog trainer and a behavior consultant and all of these other things that I do. But for puppies in a new home, I am the coach to the family. A lot of times people get so overwhelmed by the responsibility once a coach comes along and identifies that they need to create structure, trust, leadership, rules, boundaries, obedience, discipline, leash training, socialization, that unfortunately they end up rehoming the puppy because it's too much work. They didn't think it through. They spent a couple $1,000s on a dog from a breeder, and they hire a dog trainer. Then they realize from the information through the dog trainer that it is a tremendous amount of work and it's too much for them. So they either give the dog back to the breeder or they rehome it. And let me tell you something. Rehoming a young puppy is very bad for the puppy because they don't know what's going on. They were at a breeder till 8 weeks or 10 weeks. Now they're at a home. Shortly after that, they're going to another home. And it's very hard on the puppy. It's very hard on the owners as well. You spend all that money and you're not getting any of it back. There's no refunds on this stuff. So don't get a puppy unless you're absolutely sure that you can commit to it and that you're going to use the help from a coach, but you have to do the work yourself with the advice and tips that the coach is going to give you. Now let's go through a few myths of raising a puppy. Myth number 1. Young puppies only need affection and play. That is so untrue, but unfortunately, a lot of people get a 8, 10, 12-week-old puppy, and it's so cute that they think all they're supposed to do is feed it, take it outside, play with it all day long in the house so that it doesn't get enough sleep, and cuddle with it all the time and pick it up and talk to it all the time. That is absolutely not what a puppy needs at that age. What it needs is, as I talked about earlier, structure, leadership, rules, boundaries, obedience, discipline. All of these things that I talk about in this podcast, you can get from my book, linked in the show notes, The Complete Puppy Training Manual. Everything I talk about is in that book. It's available on Amazon, also on audiobook, on Audible. Check out that book. It's a great resource. Myth number 2. Teaching your puppy the no command will solve everything. That is a big mistake. Eventually, when you say no to the puppy so many times, particularly before it knows its name, it thinks that its name is no. And that's not where you want to go when you raise a puppy. That's not good leadership. That's not effective because no doesn't mean anything to a puppy. In order for them to understand any cue or any command you teach them, it has to be programmed into their software using operant and classical conditioning. There's a scientific method to this. And you can also listen to the podcast that I've done several years ago. No is not a cue. Myth number 3. Punishing the puppy by yelling or using force is important to establish dominance. That is not true. The dominance myth has been debunked a long time ago. And dog trainers these days use positive reinforcement. We are licensed professionals. We are not allowed to use verbal or physical force when communicating to a dog, because if we did, we could lose our license and we could be out of business. We don't recommend it, and it's not something that you should do because it doesn't help the puppy trust you. And you can listen to the last episode that I did, Does Your Puppy Trust You? It's very important for them to trust you so that you can bring them to the place that they have never been and teach them greatness. Calm, great, confident puppy is what you want. You're not going to get that by yelling and using punishment by hitting your puppy. What you're going to do when you start using verbal or physical force is you're going to create fear, anxiety, stress, and probably aggression. And this is bad. This is when puppies get rehomed or taken away from the owners. They end up at a shelter. They're unadoptable because they have so much baggage from the verbal and physical abuse that they had early on that there's no hope for them. So don't do that. That is not going to help raise your puppy. For the 3rd time in this podcast episode, in review, what helps your puppy, the things you need to raise your puppy, obviously are shelter and food and water and love and that type of stuff. But they need structure, rules, boundaries, leadership, obedience, discipline, leash training, socialization, all of the things that I teach in my puppy training programs. This is all in my 8-week in-home puppy training program, and this is what most dog trainers include in their programs. I hope this information was helpful to you. If you have any questions on the information in this podcast episode, you can reach me through the website, puppytalkpodcast.com.